Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Marshall County Board of Supervisors regular session here on July 5th, 9 a.m. here at the courthouse. The Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You're requested to approach the podium and use the microphone, state your name, address, and for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process is on any agenda item. For the chair to read the item from the agenda, the board is given the opportunity to comment on the issue and or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate and a roll call vote will follow. We'll start with the roll call, please.
Heil.
Here.
Salasic.
Here.
Hibbs.
Here.
Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the approval of the agenda, there is just one typo on number 6. It's the last three numbers of that parcel number is 024, not 204. So, is there any other amendments? Otherwise, I'd accept motion for an amendment to the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we amend the agenda to include that correction.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil.
Yes.
Salasic.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
Number 5, consent agenda. 5A, approve regular session minutes from June 21st, 2023. 5B, approve claims as audited. 5C, file manure management plan, Upchurch Feeders Incorporated, number 66010, MMP, short form signed with changes. And that is the end of the consent agenda. Do any discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain motions.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil.
Yes.
Salasic.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
Number 6, discussion and possible action on Salem County parcel 8418-35-202-024. That's 121 East Main Street here in Marshalltown. And this is the parcel in which that this buildings and grounds garage sat prior to the tornado, and so now it's just kind of an open lot. We had an interested buyer, someone coming to us asking if we'd be interested in selling that, and so this is just a discussion and to decide if we do want to sell it, and then we need to set a public hearing to do that. So,
Very good.
Does Lucas want to speak to it?
yes. Thank you, Lucas.
Lucas Badke, Buildings and Grounds. So, like Jared said, this is the previous location to our Buildings and Grounds shop, and the adjacent property owner showed some interest in buying it, and I think reached out to Jared about that. After I put some thought into this, it would be my thought that we should probably keep it. As of now, we have tight parking, and if it were used for overflow parking and a place for us to put snow in the winter, so parking, when we have a snowstorm isn't an absolute nightmare, that would probably be best case scenario for us. If we're looking at potential expansion in the future of parking or something, we're not going to find a better, closer option for that. So it'd be my thought that we probably not sell this, but I guess I'll leave that up to you guys.
Did this come up because someone offered to buy it? Or?
Yeah, yep, the adjacent property owner
All right.
to the north,
To the north.
showed some interest.
Do they have plans for it that you know of?
I think he said something about maybe just having a little yard.
Oh,
Possible green space.
oh,
but,
I see. So not like business expansion or anything?
Not that we're aware of.
Yeah. That's not what was communicated, at least.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So, in my opinion, our best interest is to probably
Keep it.
and then we can decide down the road what we're going to do with it. It's currently gravel, whether we pave it and use it for parking or keep it gravel. That's something we don't have to decide right away.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that assessment. I think maybe down the road we'd feel more comfortable
Yeah.
selling it.
Yeah.
If we may find out. We're just such an infancy stage of kind of the readjustment of new employees in the annex, getting our parking situation figured out. But I'm kind of under the inclination of not at this time.
There are currently probably 15 employees, HHS employees, that don't have spots in the east lot that are going to have to park somewhere else. So if we were able to provide some of that as the need arose, I know the last conversation I had with the regional director for them is they are really close to a decision on working remotely. So there's potential that they don't need it, but if we were able to provide that, I think that'd be a nice something that we could do.
Is it not being used for parking now? It is gravel.
I've got some trailers sitting there.
Oh, all right, well,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's being used.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, it's, we have a couple enclosed trailer and a dump trailer and the band shell that have just kind of rotated in and out of there, as we don't really have a great place to keep them, and having those out at the jail when we need them up here is kind of an annoyance.
Sure.
James, could you zoom out a little bit on this? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas. Yeah, I'm in agreement.
I do have a question though on this parcel, because we did, I believe, do a survey for 10 feet on the north end to sell to Kester's when he was living there, and I believe that hasn't been done yet. You can't see it on this one because we're not logged in showing all of Melanie's map lines. But there is 5 or 10 feet, I think, on that north end of that parcel that we had agreed to sell, but we never did sell. So I just wanted to know for my office purposes if that was gonna go.
Kester no longer lives there.
No,
right?
he does.
Correct. So when we rebuilt the wall of our own shop, we had a shared party wall. We built an hour-and-a-half firewall instead of a 3-hour firewall, and that required us to move the lot line 5 feet. And I just don't think we've ever just
I
completely.
don't think it's been.
We haven't
completely
completed that
recorded.
process. So.
I just wanted to double check for our office purposes, if that does sell, if that was gonna be done, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to move the lot line 5 feet, and it just hasn't technically happened yet.
Okay, I'm done.
Any other discussion on this?
No, I'm good.
All right, hearing no motions of action, we'll move on to number 7, discussion and possible action to approve the Marshall County General Assistance Policy. Kevin, you have some information to share with us on this?
Kevin Husbo, VA and GA. Basically, we just went through and cleaned up from the '08 criteria of general assistance. Kind of cleaned it up a bunch, eliminated some items in there. Basically, we just cleaned it up a bunch. We put some criteria in there, forms have to be in by the 10th of the month. That gives us some time. With limited funds, we just have to tighten up the purse strings a bit, and so we're able to help. Put some criteria in there that individuals have to, we're the last step on the ladder. So they have to go to organizations and get stamped that they've been there and reviewed there first. Like I said, we're the last step. We went to a GA seminar a couple months ago and had learned quite a bit about GA. Basically, the big thing there is, requiring people to have 2 months of bank statements, that they're going to workforce center, they're looking for work, they're trying to better their lives too. We understand everybody has a hiccup, but, we're able to help with that. We're not a revolving door, we're not a bank, we're not there for everybody's situation when you help them once and they come back in 30 days going, hey, I'm back, I need help again. When they're not willing to help themselves, it's kind of tough. So,
Remind everyone what GA stands for.
general assistance. That's helping with rent and helping with utilities. Current amount of utilities and current rent. We eliminated, we're not gonna pay people that have mortgages and they're falling behind on their mortgage and their purchasing and stuff like that. And it's just current amount that you owe on utility. We limited the amount there to like a $200 for the current on the utilities, max of $300 toward your rent. The one thing we did want to amend from the original email was, there was a paragraph in there about assisting with transportation and running to the state border. We're gonna eliminate that. Most of the people that come up and do see us, we have bus passes that we get, and we can utilize with those. But 99% of the people have cars, they come up and visit with us.
So Kevin, just to clarify, you provide assistance to veterans who are from outside of Marshall County too, and help
Right.
them, but these funds are
These
just
are
for
just
Marshall County residents, right?
Residents only. Yep. We had some last year, they called from Hardin County. I'm going, you have a general assistance up there, why are you? There was a family that had a bad fire up there, and one of the gentlemen up there brought the dad and the two sons down here and wanting us to assist with, and I said, well, you're from Hardin County, it's kind of tough with that. But with VA, I do the food boxes every month, so I was able to assist with some food boxes for the family. They were staying with their brother until they got life back in order. But as far as putting funds out, no. It's Marshall County only. Any other questions?
And so with the amount of funds you have, any idea how long you expect them to last?
I'm anticipating longer than last year. We took it over July 1st of last year, and by middle of January, we had 42 clients, and they did meet the criteria with, I kind of went into it blind running it, and I've learned a lot. So we just tightened everything up a bunch, but that was when we found out too, there was people that come in wanting help, and it's like, no, I don't want to go to work. If I go to work, then I have to pay back my child support. So a lot of those, we just, unfortunately, we say no. And we tighten it up too, so if you're renting a room from your brother, sister, mom, dad, or whatever, that's not gonna fly either.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, do we have any other questions, discussion, thoughts on the approval of this policy?
I'd make a motion then to approve the updated general assistance policy.
I second that.
We have the motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Pyle,
Yes.
Solosik,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
All right. On to number 8, discussion and possible action to approve the pre-award information sheet and approve signatures for the energy efficiency and conservation block grant for potential of $76,390. Thank you, Lucas.
Lucas Badke, Buildings and Grounds. This is a grant that was sent to me by somebody at the state. I forget exactly who it is. The main question here, so it's a grant for energy conservation. We have the potential of $76,000-ish. Really, the main question I think that Maria and I have is who signs this? So if you'll see on your screen here, there's a section here that says signature of authorized official. The main question is, who is that? Is that the chairman of the board? Is that Maria? There's another signature that's principal investigator. I think that's me. But the next question is, who's the other person?
Yeah. So let's go back to, you're going to use these funds particularly for what?
My plan is to use them for the jail project.
Okay.
Yep, to kind of supplement the ARPA funds for the, $1.5 million that we're doing there.
Do these require any matching funds?
Yeah, not that we've read through this. Basically, they want this sheet and then we get more information.
Yeah. I guess in my opinion, we might want to ask Jordan, but it would be the chair of the Board of Supervisors.
That's my inclination. But I figured we'd have a conversation.
And then you I'm guessing principal investigator means who's going to make sure we're in compliance with this.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, if there were a point person on it, it'd most likely be me. So, I just double check with
Yeah,
Jordan.
I
and
mean,
then- yeah.
I would make a motion that we approve this application, or this pre-information grant sheet, and authorize Jarrett to sign on behalf of the county.
Pretty powerful.
Works for me.
I'll second.
All right, we have a-
Assuming, and that's assuming Jordan gives the okay.
Yes. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Slosik?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
Number 9, discussion and possible action on parking enforcement option for county-owned parking spaces. This is most especially for our lot here to the east of the courthouse, where I know we've had problems with non-county employees that do not have the county sticker parking in those spots. And do we want to move forward with towing vehicles, or just wait for parking enforcement? Because I know the city has not hired their parking enforcement individual to ticket.
Lucas, do you have anything to say about this?
This is my day to talk. Jessie may have the most input on this because she's been the one kind of going around putting little slips of paper on people's cars as far as like, hey, you're not supposed to park here. I did have a conversation with Aaron Busby at Zeno's about, their transition out of our parking lots. So at this point, we just need some enforcement. There are what I would call placeholder spots in the parking lot. We basically have vacancies in different jobs that we have to have those placeholders for. So the parking lot isn't 100% full all the time. But I think it's a good time to transition the other almost residents downtown to say, hey, this isn't your free-for-all parking lot. We need to have some sort of enforcement or just accountability on people parking that's, in our spot that is permitted, so.
Lucas, what do we have for signage there now?
We have, I think, 2 signs in this lot that says, permit parking 7:30 to 5, and then we added some signs that say, violations could be ticketed or towed. I don't know exactly what
Okay.
it says, but we did.
But
we did add
added that,
signage.
yeah.
We got that up last week, so however we decide to move forward with enforcement on this, we added that in our east lot and the engineer's lot. The reserve spots on First Ave already have that verbiage on the signage.
Do we have the right to give a ticket? To write a ticket?
If we have an ordinance that allows us to assign a parking attendant and that person can write tickets. How that happens, I really don't know. I don't think it's something that we've really ever done. The city's always kind of enforced it for us. Right now, they don't have an attendant. I know they're taking applications. I have no idea the status of that.
Do we have people who cannot find employees who cannot find a spot to park when they come to work? Or
I don't
come
think
back?
it's so much of a problem in the morning. It's more
when they come back for lunch,
it's
or-
afternoon.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My spot gets taken every time I get back from lunch, and there's no one in the car, so I can't.
Yeah. We do have kind of where the red, I don't know, little dot is there. That there are 12-ish spots over there that rarely get used. I think that's probably more of a learning curve for our employees that they can park there as well. Like I said, we have 5 or 6 spots that are reserved that are not currently assigned. We don't assign specific spots, but spaces that aren't assigned to employees because those employees don't exist at this time. But like we kind of talked about earlier, there are probably 12 people in the annex that would love to have a permit to that spot. At this time, they have they don't have specific window clings like our employees. They have general rear view hangers that they give out per who is there that day.
Oh.
They wanted one for each of their employees, and we went, whoa, hold on, what if you have 10 people here? That's a problem. So they just kind of keep that at their front public counter, and whoever's there that day parks, grabs a window hanger, and takes it out to their car. That's how it's supposed to happen. I'm not exactly sure that's happening.
Do you have any comments on enforcement, Ben?
How many stalls are we talking about in that lot?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think there's like 58 off the top of my head. I count them at one point. I don't.
In a perfect world, that the individual sign,
Yeah.
Come on up.
in a perfect world, the individual signs like we have on First Avenue are very nice from an enforcement standpoint, because there's no question when you park your car, you're looking at that sign in the windshield. However, 58 stalls, that's a lot of cost and signs to maintain, so that's not quite as clear.
We have two signs at the entrances. So when you come in on the north side of First Ave there's a sign close to there, and then there's one at the back, kind of right off the alley. And the way the parking lot works, it snakes around from north to south, so you should see the sign. The problem is the people coming in from the alley next to the Edward Jones building there. That's where we get lost on the people some, because if that first row, it's designed to pull in from the north, but you can park in from the alley, and that's where people miss the sign. But it's, like I said, it's more of a learning curve. You ticket a couple people or tow somebody, the word spreads real fast.
Yeah, that's the thing, as long as we're clearly signing it to where there's no question, especially when vehicles are being towed, you're gonna have concerns about that, but as long as it's clearly signed, that's the main part of it.
I did talk to the owner of Zeno's last week, and I think we came up with a solution on their parking. I think what we're gonna do is, where that red car is there, there's a spot in front of it, actually two spots in front of it, and I think I'm gonna grind off the paint line and take one of those spots away so they can pull in diagonal towards their building.
Yeah.
That'll give them 4 or 5 spots where their employees that can park before kind of the 4:30 timeframe. I kind of told them, I'm like, really, after 4 o'clock, it's not that big a deal. Like, our employees are starting to trickle out at that point, so, and.
Well, we
so-
say on our signage, enforcement's till 4:30,
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna update the signage. It looks kind of rough, but typically when they've had parking enforcement downtown, it tapers off about 3:30, 4 o'clock, so.
I hate to start towing. I'd be okay with a ticket if it's not.
At this
A
point,
big
we
deal.
don't have any means to write a ticket unless a deputy comes and does it. I don't even know if you guys have that
No, and
ability.
I think, and it was before my time, but there was a point in time where there was, I believe it was almost, I think it was green, like the city's parking tickets, they're green, I think, that were issued
Yes.
by someone here at the courthouse.
I'm dating myself here, but 28 years ago, there was a guy, and I can't remember his name, but I know he patrolled the horseshoe as far as it's a time limit parking there, but I don't know if he did anything on the other side of the street, but there was a mechanism for him to write tickets, but it may have just been here's the envelope, put the envelope in this thing by the door, and you're paying us directly, it's not going anywhere else. I don't know, but I don't know the process.
That's, as we get to that step, that's what I would encourage too, is to go to like the cities where it's a envelope-based parking ticket.
You just put
I
your-
don't want, having the papers we print out from our vehicles, or somebody having to have a printer and just leaving that's not very efficient. Having the envelope where it's weather resistant is something we definitely need to look at, however we proceed with that if we do it ourselves.
I like that idea. like
But I
that a
think
lot.
at one point, I think there was somebody here, whether it was, I don't know who it was, but I do recall there's envelopes specifically for Marshall County that looked like the cities, but they were a different color.
I have heard that. That triggers a memory, but it's before
Yeah.
my time.
It was before I was involved in it.
Yeah, I guess I would be in favor of pursuing that option versus immediate towing.
Yeah.
And we may have to update a county ordinance to
Yes.
actually enforce it. I don't know if it's still on the book somewhere, and we just don't know, or if it needs to be,
I think it's there, we just have to
Get it cleaned
make
up.
an official, like, this is the attendant,
Policy,
or these
yeah.
are the attendants, whatever that is.
Mhm.
And I can look into, some sort of, like, what does a envelope look like, see if we can order something like that.
Mhm.
Cause at this point, we're rolling the dice on whether or not the city's gonna have somebody to do that job. And if we have it in our back pocket, what's it hurt?
Mhm.
Nothing.
and I would encourage the board to consider the ordinance, if it doesn't say so, designate individuals rather than specific people. The ordinance should state designated individuals, and that list of individuals is maintained separately. That way,
If it
anytime employees
changes,
change,
yeah.
we don't have to go back and amend the actual ordinance, just to say designated officials, whether it's department heads and/or whoever, but avoid listing individual people to make it more fluent, or fluid moving forward.
Is that lot all the counties?
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yep. Well, there's a small section right behind the Edward Jones building that is theirs.
And I know, Sheriff, you said individual signs would be more applicable as far as, but maybe not as feasible. But what about painting a certain section of the lines a different color and a sign at one end of that section or whatever, to enforce it that way? Instead of putting a sign at each individual stall?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility that would be more
I mean,
feasible?
yeah, typically we just try and like lump it all in together, but I don't know how basically if there's a painted line in that area, we own it.
That is a good idea. Wintertime with,
Yeah, it's a pain for everything, parking lots, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
this lot's a little different than a lot of, you take like downtown Des Moines, for example, every parking lot in downtown Des Moines is owned and controlled by somebody, but generally there's one entrance and it's gated, signed. Here we have, essentially 3 different ways you can come in there, and it does kind of butt up against, other buildings where it's not fenced off, so it does appear to have that public parking lot look to it, because you can clearly park there and walk to Zeno's or anywhere else, where a lot of those downtown type parking lots that are restricted are generally fenced in, and there's one way in, one way out through an attendant or a gate, so that makes this a little bit of a unique situation.
Well, it is nice to have this available to the public after 4:30 and on weekends, so.
I mean, Zeno's patrons heavily use it.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, so. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
So the action that we need to do is probably have an updated parking ordinance with the ability to ticket, and maybe it's in our old original ordinance that we're
Yeah.
not aware of.
James had it pulled up here.
And
Oh, it could go to city clerk, city hall. So they must have been city violations.
have to review if that's a requirement, that it's a city violation, or where those funds actually would go, if they go to the county or if they go to the city. And then we'd have to figure out our process on who internally is going to be the one managing this, because we don't have anyone particular to that. I do know that the auditor's office has taken some time in reviewing the vehicles that are not parked there and giving them nice notes, but I don't know if that's anything that the auditor's office really wants to take on as on a longer term solution for their office. So
James, can you go back up to the top and, is there reference to the city in this?
The superintendent section.
Okay.
Whoever we want.
Reference to the city is.
Is for payment, yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, so no official action right now? Or do we need a motion
I wonder
directing?
if we should wait a little bit
Yeah.
on this, give us more thought.
The direction is to investigate ticketing, correct?
And is that something, Lucas, that you're interested in doing, or?
Looking at some envelopes and things like that, yeah.
Okay.
I think the sooner we, this, the sooner we get this done, the better, just because there's no recourse for anyone parking in spots where they
I
shouldn't be.
think we need
so.
to make a decision 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume Jessie is still gonna continue to monitor things over there. I'm sure she would be glad to give the tickets, 'cause she's gotten some notes that aren't,
Well, I think she's documented that.
Who's
Reoccurring
repeat
vehicles,
offenders, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's just table it for
It
2
is,
weeks.
I think it's probably worth having Jordan just take a look at the ordinance to see how it
Yeah.
needs to be updated.
All right, so I don't think we actually need to make a motion to table it. It's just
Right.
no action at this time. All right, number 10, award contract ID 64C064139 to Heartline Asphalt Incorporated of Mason City, Iowa, in the amount of $1,901,349.88. Paul?
Paul Geilenfeld, County Engineer. This is our resurfacing contract for this summer, and there's four project sites in it. Would be 260th Street from Iowa 146 to the Tama County line is a 1 mile section, and 3 miles of Dillon Road from Highway 30 down to the end of the pavement there at Dillon. And Zeller Avenue from Gilman, 1 mile south of the Jasper County line, and E35 from Zeller Avenue, 1 mile east to the Tama County line. So those, and we've got, surprisingly, we had 4 bids, which I thought with a late letting like June 20th, that we would have trouble getting bidders, but there were 4 bids and they were all, serious bids. They were pretty close together, so I mean, it was, I think we got a good price based on what the market is right now. The only other issue, or the only other thing to note, is that this contract has a late start date of August 12th and 55 allowable working days, and the DOT usually sets those up so that the contractor has to complete that work in this construction season. If they don't, and they run out of working days, liquidated damages go into effect at $1,000 a day.
Okay,
Awesome.
And I think, Jared, you're set up for electronic signature, aren't you, with
Yes.
Mark? Okay. And so the signing of the contract is all done electronically now, and we, after award, it will get signed by the contractor, and they will provide their performance bond, and so then we check the bond and make sure everything's good, then we sign it after the contractor provides signed and is bonded.
Paul, are they going to be ground? Are all of
There-
those surfaces going to be?
There's varying, yes. There's milling, there's some milling in each one of them, but yeah, milling to kind of bring the section back and then an overlay.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna keep our fingers crossed that we don't get into the middle of harvest, because all of those roads are used.
But we literally have no control over that at all. So and we don't control when harvest is gonna be. August, or is it gonna be, a lot of times.
Harvest?
Yeah.
It'll be late September.
Okay, well, I hope it doesn't go that late, but they could do this in October and still be within their working days.
Yeah, okay.
It's,
I'll get a lot of calls. so.
we don't have any contacts with the contractor until
Yeah.
after the contract is signed, and then we can say, hey, what's your schedule look like? We can't speak with them at all.
I understand.
Until we have the contract approved and awarded.
Yep.
So Steve, would you like it known that you're the guy to take those calls?
No, it would be all three of us
Oh,
would, could share in that, so,
Okay.
all right. This is less than $400,000 a mile. That seems pretty good to me from what I've been hearing for,
Yes.
in the past for, you know.
It's, I think it's a little over 16,000 tons of asphalt, so it's quite a bit of hot mix. And it's a needed improvement for these roads, for sure.
Has the price come down from what it was?
Well, we don't, I haven't been following like letting to letting. I think things are coming back a little bit, like with asphalt, a lot of it goes with what oil prices are. And I guess I haven't been following oil, but it hasn't continued to rise so much in the last year, but it's been high. So that dictates a lot of the asphalt prices.
Well, this is an exciting project for me, because I use all of these roads a lot.
We are working
so-
down in your neighborhood, aren't we?
And we appreciate that. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Questions for Paul? All right, we'll entertain motions.
I'll make a motion that we award contract ID number 64C064-139 to Heartland Asphalt Incorporated of Mason City, Iowa, in the amount of $1,901,349.88 for the 4 projects as identified.
I'll second that.
We have the motion and the second. Do we have any further questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Salasik?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
Thank you, Paul. Number 11, set public hearing on proposed 2023-24 Marshall County decrease in appropriations. This is to set the public hearing July 19th, 2023 at 9 a.m. here at our board meeting in the Marshall County Courthouse, first floor meeting room. And this is basically just a shift in our money to cover the ending of the courthouse project. So we need to adjust our line items of what we approved for our budget. We had anticipated that many of these things would be completed by now, and so it's just a shift in the budget. So that's what this meeting is. Any other clarifying thoughts on that?
And just to make sure that people knows that the budget is not changing, the total amount is the same. It's just, like he said, shifting money
Yeah.
from one department to another.
Excellent. All right.
5 years later.
Yes.
There it is. I would make a motion to set July 19th, 2023 at 9:00 a.m. in the Marshall County Courthouse, first floor meeting room, 1 East Main Street, Marshalltown, Iowa, at the time and place to conduct the proposed 23-24 Marshall County decrease in appropriations public hearing, and authorize the Marshall County Auditor and Recorder to publish notice of public hearing.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Salasik?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
Number 12, the annual publication of salaries in accordance with section 349.18 Code of Iowa, the salary listing for fiscal year 2022-23. And this is an annual thing that we do, and this will be, once approved, it'll be put into the public record and viewed in the newspaper for all to see. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we do the annual publication of salaries in accordance with section 349.18 Code of Iowa, the salary listing for fiscal year 2022-2023.
I'll second.
Motion the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Salasik?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
Number 13, discussion and possible action on the Eagle View aerial imagery renewal. James, did you have anything on this you'd like to share?
This is a renewal of a contract that we've had with a company that was formerly known as Pictometry. They provide the aerial imagery that we often pull up as part of this program. We provide it out to the public as well. We're trying to do these flights a little more often. We had been doing flights every 5+ years in the past. We're trying to get it more in that 3 to 4 range so we can get modern changes, especially since the tornado. This is the second half of a contract that we had agreed to a while back. Blaze and I kind of split these costs 50-50 between the general fund and GIS and the assessor's office. This year, the biggest change is that we increased the resolution from, I think, 6-inch to 3-inch in the incorporated areas to give us more resolution and ability. Not a significant increase against the contract, a few $1,000s, but we think it'll be very beneficial.
Rhonda Broadus, 911. I just wanted to say that when it comes to the Eagle View aerial, I actually have this interface integrated with my CAD system. So we use this a lot in dispatch. So if somebody's calling in 911, it helps us get a little bit of a better location. So it does do a lot for us.
Thank you.
Just to reiterate what James said, it's probably gonna add about $6,000, I think was the final cost, which would be just 3,000 on his side, 3,000 on mine side. We already had that kind of money budgeted in my budget. Talking with Eagle View, 3-inch was a way to go for most assessors, because the imagery does help us pick up new construction and stuff, especially when there's cities or out in the county where we don't know about new construction because they don't have to apply for a building permit in those areas. So that does help for us. They have come out with something new also for what they call sub-inch, where you could actually get better imagery than what we have now, even with the 3-inch, where you could actually probably count the bricks and see signs on the windows and everything like that. And that is something that I'd like to talk to you guys separately for James' part of the contract, and then my conference board as something to look forward into the future. It's just very helpful for what we do in our job. Very helpful for Rhonda, probably very helpful for engineer's office, and I'm not sure if there's any other offices, but law enforcement, yeah. So, but we split the cost, and it's just been great to have and to see. I'd like to see it happen a little bit more often than 3 years, but most counties do it every 2, because there's also with Eagle View, they also have some things that will help us pick up new construction and new things. That would be a separate contract, separate thing to do changes, and someone in their office would look at those. But otherwise, it's just a great product, and we're great to have Eagle View do these kind of things for us, and they've been a great vendor to work with.
So just a clarification, it's a 3-year contract. The $6,000, is that annually, or is that over the term of the contract, 3 years?
I believe it's just for this year. So we have a 3-inch, 6-inch right now, 3-inch just in city limits for all cities, and then 6-inch out in the townships. I had asked for us to do a 3-inch overall if possible, and and it's just for this next year, for what I'm hearing from Ryan out at Eagle View. And it's going to 3-inch overall in the county, and then our last year will be 3-inch, 6-inch again. But in the future, I'd like to do 3-inch all the time, or look at that sub-inch in the future.
So it's $51,057.83 per year, and that's a $6,000 increase over
It was
3
about
years?
47,000 last
Year, okay,
year,
so
and I did
that's
about
each year,
20
so it's
over
about
24.
18,000 over the course of the term of the contract.
Should be 12 because we've already done the first year.
Oh, okay.
Is this allotted for any use in the
Yep.
county?
Yep.
Like
So
a contractor could sign on and?
that no, but we do have our public maps out there, either by Beacon or DevNet, where you can look on
If he's
there.
gonna talk, he needs to come up.
I don't know of any other contract, maybe besides the city, that might have something with Beacon.
Yeah, basically for the public use, we direct everybody, like you said, to those websites. There's a button on there if they want to get that angled view, that pictometry view. It's an option right across the top on that toolbar.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's on both websites. The only one that's not is this oblique imagery where you get the angle view. It's only on Beacon. It's not on our external ones on DevNet.
Is Beacon at 6-inch or?
3 inch and 6 inch.
It's both.
So inside any city limits, it's
In the
3
city
inch.
limits,
Out in
okay.
the townships, it's 6. But we'd like to make that more uniform. It helps with the clarity of the pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they don't have to do separate flights or anything.
Okay.
Awesome, thanks for the information.
Thank you.
Any other further questions, discussion?
No.
And
Paul Geilenfeld, County Engineer. I don't know if Secondary Roads participates in this cost, but this is valuable enough to us that we'd be willing to pitch in for the cost of this
Yeah.
increased imagery, especially the higher resolution things. When we buy right away, and actually when I do even maintenance requests for things, I go to the aerials and just look and see where the right of way lines are at. There's a lot of value to my department for this as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Send Paul the bill. No, thank you very
I
much.
just think I think it's okay.
There's
for us
value.
to participate.
Yeah, yeah.
So right now it's split two ways.
You have 2 ways.
Paul is offering to-
IT and my office for these.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're previously paying about a little over 24,000 each for the current contract. that we
Right.
signed it on.
Should we be including planning and zoning in that
was a
split?
discussion me and James had to possibly break out more, but since I'm kind of different than the rest of the county with my board and everything like that, and most of the county falls under the general fund, is it?
Basically, what we were trying to do is we looked at, first of all, this is the first time we had done this oblique and ortho imagery. So historically, we'd always just done the straight down shots. This company does those angled shots where we can spin the property as well. Because it was a new product and we weren't sure the usability of it for the other departments, we decided this is the first time we would just split it between general fund and the assessor's fund. Historically, I think the assessor may have taken the entire brunt for
The
aerials.
assessor was previously paying for all of them, and the last time it was done was in 2014,
Yeah.
before this last 2020 fly.
So we basically split it, and the hope was that over the initial term of the contract, this first 3 or 4 years, that other departments would start to see the benefit, the public would see the benefit, and then we may look at doing things like Paul had said, other non-general fund departments that might be able to chip in, help keep that cost a little lower to the taxpayer.
Could we add that to our motion then, to have secondary roads split this? Or does this need to be kept separate?
Is this more of an internal, how we handle the bill than necessarily needing to be in the,
Okay.
I mean, this
specific-
is just to renew the contract with the county, I think, so.
Okay.
Just to update it, so
Yeah.
we can talk about that the next 3-year contract or anything like that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, or we could do it anytime when the bill comes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just depends if he has it in his budget or not.
We have amendments.
Yeah. Maria, is this okay? Yeah.
Okay.
She's shaking her head, yes.
I would make a motion then to approve the Eagle View aerial imagery renewal.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Pyle,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
On to item number 14, public forum. Time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on the agenda. No action will be taken on these topics brought up in the public forum. If so, please come to the podium for recording. Well, hearing none, I would like to say one thing I have to say today is Todd Apple's last day as our planning and zoning guy here at Marshall County, and we appreciate all the work he's done for Marshall County. He came to us when we had the unfortunate, untimely death of John Kuntz, and he came in and did very well. And what I appreciated about him was he, in that job with planning and zoning, he really looked at the taxpayers, the personal property owners' interests in what he did in his job, and that's what I appreciate most. A lot of times we get lost in government of the details of what we're required to do by code, that we forget that there are actually people out there that we're dealing with, and that's one thing he never forgot and did very, very well in looking at the people's interests first and figuring out how he can make the code within his parameters work for him and do that. And I appreciate that work he's done, and we're really going to miss him, and we're in the middle of replacement. So excited for him and moving on. It's a loss for us, but we'll continue. So thank you, Todd. We appreciate you.
I'd echo your comments. Thank you.
Me too.
Any other public forum today? All right, hearing none. On to number 15, adjournment. The next regular session is Wednesday, July 19th, 2023 at 9 a.m. here at the courthouse, first floor meeting room at 1 East Main Street. All business to be acted upon that session should be submitted to the County Auditor and Recorder's Office or the Board of Supervisors Office by Wednesday, July 12th at noon. There being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is adjourned at 9:51 a.m.